My brothers and sisters, we live in a world where people constantly demand explanations, where you feel the need to justify every action, every word, every choice you make. But let me tell you, the truth does not need your defense. The reality of who you are, your intentions, your efforts, they will speak for themselves. The moment you stop proving yourself, you regain peace, clarity, and dignity. Let me share with you 7 powerful lessons to understand this truth deeply. Many of us spend our lives trapped in a cycle of trying to make others happy, constantly seeking approval, convincing everyone around us of our intentions and sincerity. From childhood, we are taught to behave, be polite, follow the rules. But somewhere along the way, this turns into a habit of seeking validation. We begin to measure our worth by the reactions of others. If someone smiles, we feel accomplished. If someone criticizes, we feel defeated. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you clearly, this is a trap, and it is one of the most exhausting traps a person can fall into. People will always judge you. They will always misunderstand you. They will always criticize, often unfairly, sometimes without even knowing the full story. And the truth is, no matter how much effort you put into pleasing everyone, it will never be enough. There will always be someone who questions your intentions, someone who finds fault in your actions, someone who disagrees with your choices. And if your happiness depends on the approval of every single person, you will live your life in constant anxiety and frustration. Look at it practically. Imagine you are walking in a crowded market, and everywhere you turn, someone is watching, judging, or commenting. Now, if you try to adjust yourself to satisfy every single person's opinion, how would you live? How would you even breathe? You would be trapped, paralyzed by fear of disapproval. This is what happens when we make it our mission to please everyone. We lose freedom, we lose confidence, and most importantly, we lose peace of heart. The Prophet ﷺ taught us to prioritize our responsibility to Allah over the opinions of people. Your first duty is to Allah, and through Him to your own conscience and character. You are accountable for your intentions, your choices, and your efforts. This is the standard by which your life should be measured, not the fleeting judgments of those around you. If you live your life trying to convince others that you are good, kind, or sincere, you are essentially putting people in the place of Allah, allowing them to dictate your sense of worth. And that is dangerous, brothers and sisters, because people are flawed and their understanding is limited. Consider this. Even the best of us will be misunderstood at some point. Even the Prophet ﷺ faced criticism and opposition from people who could not comprehend his wisdom, his intentions, or his message. And yet, he ﷺ remained focused on what truly mattered, pleasing Allah and fulfilling his mission. He did not bend to the opinions of every critic. He remained steadfast in his purpose, showing us that our priority is not the fleeting approval of others, but the eternal pleasure of Allah. Many people, however, confuse kindness with the need for approval. They think, if I do not make everyone happy, they will hate me. If I do not explain myself, they will judge me. But true kindness does not depend on recognition. True sincerity does not require validation. When you act with a pure heart, when you make decisions with good intentions, and when you live honestly according to your values and faith, that is enough. Those who matter will see it. Those who do not are not your concern. Another important point, seeking to please everyone also leads to compromise. You begin to adjust your opinions, your actions, and even your beliefs to suit others. You may deny your own needs, your own identity, your own values just to gain approval. And over time, this erodes your confidence, your self-respect, and your sense of purpose. People may see you as agreeable, but internally you are conflicted, frustrated, and spiritually drained. This is why the most content people in the world are not those who are universally loved, but those who are at peace with themselves and their Creator. Think of your life as a garden. You cannot control the weather, the insects, or the people walking past it. You can only tend to your plants, water them, and nurture them. Some people will appreciate your garden. Others may step on it, criticize it, or ignore it. But that does not change the fact that your garden grows through your care and effort. Similarly, your life and your character grow through your intentions, actions, and faith, not through the opinions of others. So how do we apply this lesson practically? First, recognize when you are trying to please someone unnecessarily. Ask yourself, am I doing this for Allah, or am I doing this to be liked, to be praised, to avoid criticism? Awareness is the first step. Second, practice patience and restraint. You do not have to explain yourself to everyone. Not every comment requires a response. Not every judgment requires justification. Third, focus on your priorities. Your relationship with Allah, your family, your integrity, and your goals are far more important than the fleeting approval of strangers or even acquaintances. Lastly, trust Allah with the outcomes. Understand that it is not your job to change every perception or convince every heart. Some people may never understand you, and that is okay. Allah sees your efforts, your intentions, and your struggles. And when you live in a way that is pleasing to Him, He will guide people to see the truth at the right time. Let go of the need to control what others think, and you will find a peace and freedom that cannot be taken from you. Brothers and sisters, remember this always. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to fulfill your responsibilities, to act with integrity, and to live according to the guidance of Allah. When you stop chasing approval, when you stop seeking validation, when you stop explaining yourself unnecessarily, you reclaim your power, your peace, and your purpose. Life becomes lighter, your heart becomes stronger, and your soul becomes freer. Brothers and sisters, one of the greatest lessons we often forget in our daily lives is the power of silence. In a world filled with constant noise, opinions, and judgments, many of us feel compelled to explain ourselves at every turn. Someone misunderstands us and we rush to clarify. Someone criticizes us and we hurry to defend. But let me tell you, excessive explanation often diminishes your strength rather than protecting it. Silence, when used wisely, can be far more powerful than any words you speak. Think about it practically. When someone attacks you unfairly or spreads misconceptions about your character, your instinct might be to respond immediately. You may think, if I don't explain, people will think I am wrong. If I stay quiet, they will judge me. This is a natural reaction, but it is often misguided. You cannot control every perception, and trying to do so will drain your energy, exhaust your mind, and disturb your peace. Silence, in contrast, allows you to conserve your strength while letting reality speak for itself. Allah has created a balance in all things, including communication. The tongue, while a blessing, can become a source of harm if not restrained. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak good or remain silent. Bukhari and Muslim. This is a profound instruction. It teaches us that words are valuable and should not be wasted on proving our point to everyone. Sometimes silence is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of wisdom, patience, and self-control. Let me give you an example. Imagine a situation where someone criticizes your work at the office, in school, or even within your family. You feel hurt, misunderstood, and frustrated. You could respond defensively, pointing out every detail, explaining your actions, and trying to convince them of your intentions. But what often happens in this scenario? The more you explain, the more complicated it becomes. People rarely hear the full story, and sometimes even your words can be twisted. Now, consider staying silent, responding only with dignity and continued good work. In time, your consistency, your results, and your character will reveal the truth far more convincingly than any explanation could. Silence also protects your inner peace. Every time you feel the need to justify yourself, you give away your emotional energy. You let the opinions of others dictate your feelings and disturb your calm. When you practice silence, you reclaim that energy and redirect it toward what truly matters, your relationship with Allah, your intentions, and your actions. You stop reacting to every criticism and you start focusing on building yourself, your knowledge, and your character. Another benefit of silence is that it commands respect. People often underestimate the quiet person, thinking they are weak or passive. But the truth is, those who speak less strategically are often the ones who hold the most power. Silence demonstrates confidence and self-restraint. When you do speak, your words carry weight because they are thoughtful, deliberate, and measured. On the other hand, excessive explanation signals uncertainty and dependency on others' approval. The wise know when to speak and when to remain silent. The rest are caught in the endless loop of justification. In our relationships, silence can be a shield against unnecessary conflict. Many disputes arise not because of wrongdoing, but because people feel the need to defend themselves, to explain their actions, or to argue their point. Imagine if, instead of reacting impulsively, we allowed silence to guide us. We would avoid escalating tension, we would conserve our energy, and we would create space for understanding and clarity to emerge naturally. Silence is also a spiritual tool. In moments of reflection, prayer, or contemplation, the quiet heart communicates directly with Allah. It is in silence that we truly listen, that we hear guidance, and that we find clarity. When we stop rushing to explain ourselves to others, we create room for Allah to guide us and to manage our affairs. Trust that Allah sees, Allah knows, and Allah will reveal the truth in His perfect timing. Let us remember that actions speak louder than words. When someone misunderstands you, you cannot always control their perception, but you can control your behavior. You can continue to act with honesty, sincerity, and patience. You can continue to fulfill your responsibilities and serve with integrity. Over time, the truth will become evident to those who matter, and those who do not understand will simply fade into the background. In conclusion, brothers and sisters, silence is not weakness. Silence is strength, wisdom, and faith. It protects your heart, preserves your dignity, and allows reality to unfold naturally. Stop feeling compelled to explain yourself to everyone. Stop trying to convince those who refuse to understand. Focus on your actions, your intentions, and your relationship with Allah. Let silence carry the weight that words cannot. In the end, it is not what you say, but what you live that reveals your truth to the world. Brothers and sisters, this is a lesson that the world desperately needs to hear, yet so many of us fail to internalize it. From childhood, society trains us to seek recognition, to chase applause, to measure ourselves through the eyes of others. Did they like me? Did they approve of me? Do they think I'm good enough? These questions become the foundation upon which we build our sense of self. But the truth is this: your worth is not determined by anyone other than Allah. Think about it. How often do we bend, compromise, or even hurt ourselves in pursuit of validation? We try to impress our friends, our colleagues, our families, or even strangers online. We dress a certain way, speak a certain way, post certain things, all to make sure people approve of us. And when someone criticizes, misunderstands, or ignores us, we feel diminished. This is a dangerous path, my dear brothers and sisters, because it places your sense of value in the hands of people who are themselves flawed, imperfect, and limited in understanding. Let me explain further. Imagine a child constantly seeking their parents' praise. Every achievement, every act of obedience is done not because the child understands its moral or spiritual significance, but simply to hear the words, "well done." What happens when the praise does not come? The child feels worthless. This pattern often continues into adulthood. Adults too seek constant validation through likes, compliments, promotions, or acknowledgement. And when it does not come, they feel small, anxious, or insecure. Brothers and sisters, this is why the Prophet ﷺ taught us that our true value is found in our intentions, in our actions, and in our relationship with Allah, not in the applause of people. The hadith says, actions are judged by intentions, and every person will have what they intended. Bukhari and Muslim. Your worth is measured by sincerity, effort, and integrity, not by popularity or recognition. Even if the entire world rejects you, Allah's approval is what ultimately matters. Consider the lives of the prophets. Many of them were misunderstood, criticized, mocked, and rejected by their communities. Prophet Noah spent hundreds of years calling his people to guidance, yet only a few believed. Prophet Moses faced constant opposition from Pharaoh, the most powerful man of his time. Prophet Isa, Jesus was doubted and rejected by those around him. And yet they did not seek validation from the masses. Their worth was measured by their obedience to Allah, by their patience, and by the sincerity of their mission. In today's world, the problem is amplified by social media. People showcase the best parts of their lives, often creating a false standard. Many of us scroll through posts, comparing ourselves, questioning our own worth because someone else seems more successful, more popular, or more admired. But remember, these comparisons are meaningless in the eyes of Allah. He sees your efforts, your struggles, your patience, and your intentions. Your value is intrinsic, not relative to others' perceptions. Here is another truth. Constantly seeking approval leads to instability in your character. When your value depends on what others think, you begin to adjust yourself endlessly. You might compromise your principles to be liked. You might exaggerate, manipulate, or even abandon what is right just to fit in. This is dangerous because it gradually erodes your integrity, your confidence, and your peace of mind. On the other hand, when you stop seeking approval and measure your worth by your sincerity and efforts, your character becomes strong, consistent, and unshakable. Brothers and sisters, this lesson also applies to relationships. Some people will never appreciate your kindness, effort, or sacrifices. Some will take advantage of your generosity without acknowledging it. If your self-worth is tied to their recognition, you will always feel rejected and unworthy. But if your value comes from Allah, you remain steadfast. You give sincerely, act justly, and love genuinely, knowing that Allah sees every action. Recognition from humans is a bonus. It is not your foundation. It is also important to understand that your worth is not measured by accomplishments alone. You may not be the richest, the most famous, or the most talented. That does not diminish your value. Your worth lies in your character, your humility, your integrity, and your sincerity. Even small actions done with pure intentions hold immense value in the eyes of Allah. A smile, a kind word, a moment of patience, a small act of honesty, these define your worth far more than fame, wealth, or popularity ever could. Practical steps to internalize this lesson. First, evaluate why you are doing what you do. Are you seeking Allah's pleasure or are you seeking human praise? Second, cultivate contentment in your heart. Learn to find peace in your own efforts regardless of recognition. Third, remind yourself daily that human opinions are limited and changeable, but Allah's judgment is perfect, eternal, and just. Fourth, reduce unnecessary comparisons. Focus on self-improvement and sincerity, not on how you measure up to others. Finally, remember that seeking validation from people is exhausting and unfulfilling. It is like running on a treadmill that never stops. You may gain temporary satisfaction, but the exhaustion remains. When you turn your focus to Allah, to your intentions, and to righteous actions, you are no longer a slave to approval. You become free, content, and empowered. Your peace no longer depends on the fickle judgments of others. Your happiness is anchored in something eternal. So, my brothers and sisters, remember this truth always. Your worth is not measured by approval. It is measured by sincerity, integrity, and obedience to Allah. Stop seeking validation from those who cannot see your true value. Let your life, your actions, and your intentions reflect your worth. Trust in Allah's vision, and you will find a peace, confidence, and dignity that the world can neither give nor take away. Brothers and sisters, one of the hardest lessons for many of us is learning to step back and let life unfold rather than constantly trying to explain, justify, or defend ourselves. In our culture, we are often encouraged to sell ourselves to make sure everyone knows our efforts, to explain why we did this or that. But I am here to tell you that sometimes the most powerful approach is simply to focus on your actions and let the results speak for themselves. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in his field. He does everything correctly. He tills the soil, plants the seeds, waters them diligently, and protects them from pests. But he cannot control the rain, the sun, or the natural elements. He does not run to his neighbors every day to explain why his crops are growing slowly or why a plant is struggling. He trusts the process, does his part, and lets nature do the rest. Your life is very similar. You plant the seeds of effort, sincerity, and diligence. You act with honesty and integrity. You do what is right, and then you leave the results to unfold naturally. Many of us, however, fall into the trap of constant explanation. Someone does not recognize our effort, and we feel compelled to justify it. Someone misunderstands our intentions, and we feel the need to clarify. But the more we explain, the more we distract ourselves from what really matters. Our energy is wasted on convincing others instead of improving ourselves, serving our families, and fulfilling our responsibilities. True strength comes when we act correctly and then step back, letting reality, time, and outcomes do the talking. Let me give you a practical example. You may be working in a job, trying to provide for your family, giving your best every day, and yet some colleagues or friends fail to see your effort. Instead of explaining yourself, let your work, your consistency, and your results demonstrate your commitment. Over time, those who matter, the right people, will recognize your sincerity. Those who do not will simply fade into the background. You cannot change everyone's perception, but you can ensure that your actions are honorable and consistent. This principle is also deeply rooted in our faith. The Prophet ﷺ and his companions focused on actions, not appearances or constant explanations. They were not concerned with convincing everyone of their righteousness. Instead, they focused on fulfilling their obligations, serving others, and trusting Allah. And what happened? Their actions spoke louder than any defense or argument ever could. Generations later, their legacy remains not because they explained themselves repeatedly, but because they acted with integrity and sincerity. Letting results speak for themselves also cultivates patience. Patience is one of the most beautiful qualities a believer can have. When you stop chasing validation, when you stop rushing to clarify, you allow time to reveal the truth. Allah's timing is perfect. Sometimes the results may take longer than expected, but when they come, they carry the weight of authenticity that words alone could never achieve. This teaches humility, endurance, and trust in Allah. Another important aspect is that constant explanation can erode your credibility. When you feel the need to defend yourself repeatedly, people may begin to doubt your confidence or integrity. It may appear that you are insecure or hiding something. On the other hand, when you act with integrity and allow the outcomes to reflect your truth, people respect your consistency, patience, and self-restraint. Results, after all, are undeniable. They do not require justification. They are evidence that cannot be questioned when presented clearly through actions. In our daily lives, this lesson applies to many situations. At work, you do not need to constantly convince your manager or colleagues of your efforts. Let your consistent performance speak. In relationships, you do not need to constantly explain your love, loyalty, or intentions. Let your actions demonstrate them. In your personal growth, you do not need to justify your journey to those who fail to understand. Focus on improving yourself, learning, and evolving. The results will naturally reveal your truth. There is also a spiritual dimension to this lesson. When you focus on your actions and leave the results to Allah, you acknowledge that ultimate control belongs to Him. You are not the one responsible for convincing others or forcing recognition. You are responsible for acting correctly, sincerely, and with integrity. Let Allah manage the outcomes and trust that He sees what others do not. This frees your heart from frustration, anxiety, and unnecessary stress. Brothers and sisters, let me also warn you. Some people will never recognize your efforts. Some may even misinterpret them, and that is okay. Their lack of understanding does not diminish your value or your achievements. When you stop seeking their approval, you stop being a slave to their perceptions. You reclaim your freedom, your dignity, and your peace of mind. Let your life, your deeds, and your consistent character be the evidence of your sincerity. Finally, remember that the world is temporary, but the consequences of your actions are lasting. When you act sincerely for Allah, serve others genuinely, and live with integrity, the rewards are eternal. Recognition from humans is fleeting and unreliable. Results, whether in worldly life or in the hereafter, are what truly matter. Trust that your consistent efforts, no matter how small, will yield outcomes that vindicate your sincerity in ways you cannot always foresee. So, my brothers and sisters, make this a principle in your life. Focus on your actions, live with integrity, and let results speak for themselves. Do not waste energy on constant explanations or seeking validation. Trust in Allah's timing, remain patient, and act with sincerity. In the end, it is not your words that prove your character, but your actions, your consistency, and your dedication to what is right. Let your results reveal the truth, and you will experience freedom, dignity, and inner peace that words alone can never provide. Brothers and sisters, one of the most dangerous traps in life is seeking approval from the wrong people. Many of us spend years, even decades, trying to prove ourselves to individuals who do not have our best interests at heart. These are people who may smile at you, pretend to support you, or praise your efforts, but deep down, they only drain your energy, manipulate your emotions, and distort your perception of self-worth. This is what I call toxic validation. Toxic validation occurs when you measure your value based on the opinions of those who are incapable of seeing your true worth. It could be friends who only contact you when they need something, colleagues who only acknowledge you when it benefits them, or family members who constantly criticize rather than uplift. These people will never be satisfied no matter how much you do or how hard you try. And when you allow their opinions to define you, you give away your peace, your confidence, and your dignity. Let me explain this with an example. Imagine a student who studies diligently, performs well in exams, and works hard to improve their character. Yet, their peers constantly mock them or make sarcastic comments about their efforts. The student may feel compelled to justify themselves repeatedly, to explain why they work hard, or even to change their behavior to fit in. But the truth is, no matter what the student does, these peers will never acknowledge their sincerity. They are not looking for the truth. They are only reflecting their own insecurities and jealousy. Seeking their approval is therefore a waste of energy and a trap that leads to unhappiness. Brothers and sisters, the first step to avoiding toxic validation is recognition. Recognize who is genuinely supportive and who is draining you. True friends, mentors, and companions uplift, guide, and inspire you without expecting endless explanations. Toxic individuals, on the other hand, thrive on criticism, doubt, and control. They may disguise themselves as allies, but their impact on your life is negative. Awareness is crucial because you cannot protect yourself from what you cannot see. Another key point is that seeking validation from toxic sources often leads to self-compromise. When we try to gain approval from those who do not understand or appreciate us, we may begin to act against our values. We may change our opinions, hide our beliefs, or even abandon our integrity just to gain a fleeting sense of acceptance. This is extremely dangerous because it erodes the foundation of our character. A person who constantly bends to the judgment of others loses confidence, becomes indecisive, and experiences deep frustration. In contrast, someone who aligns their actions with their values and faith without seeking toxic approval builds unshakable character and inner strength. Consider the spiritual perspective. Seeking validation from the wrong people is a form of distraction from what truly matters, pleasing Allah. Every moment spent worrying about what a toxic person thinks of you is a moment diverted from righteous deeds, self-improvement, and spiritual growth. Allah sees your sincerity, your effort, and your struggle. He is the ultimate witness, and His approval is the only validation that lasts. When you prioritize Allah over people, you are freed from the chains of toxic judgment. It is also important to realize that toxic validation can harm your emotional and mental health. Constantly worrying about what others think can lead to stress, anxiety, and even depression. When your self-worth is tethered to someone else's flawed perception, you are at the mercy of their moods, opinions, and biases. Removing yourself from the need for their approval protects your mind and heart, allowing you to live with clarity, dignity, and peace. How do we practically avoid toxic validation? First, learn to set boundaries. You do not owe explanations or justifications to those who cannot see your truth. You do not need to defend your choices to people who do not understand or appreciate them. Boundaries are essential for protecting your energy and maintaining focus on what truly matters. Second, cultivate a circle of sincerity. Surround yourself with people who encourage, inspire, and challenge you positively. These individuals will celebrate your successes, advise you with honesty, and support your growth without demanding that you prove yourself constantly. A strong, sincere circle amplifies your confidence and reduces the impact of toxic voices. Third, focus on actions over approval. Instead of seeking recognition, work diligently, act with integrity, and maintain sincerity in all your efforts. Results, consistency, and good character will naturally reveal your truth. Those who are meant to see your value will notice it, and those who do not simply do not matter. Lastly, anchor your worth in Allah. Remember, the ultimate validation comes from Him. Every act of sincerity, patience, and good intention is recorded and valued, even if no human sees it. This spiritual perspective liberates you from the tyranny of toxic approval and allows you to live authentically, confidently, and peacefully. Brothers and sisters, life is too short to waste on the approval of those who cannot appreciate your value. Toxic validation is like drinking poisoned water. You may feel temporary satisfaction, but it will harm you in the long run. Instead, invest your energy in genuine relationships, meaningful actions, and sincere faith. Protect your heart, nurture your character, and let Allah be the ultimate witness of your worth. In conclusion, always remember this principle. Avoid toxic validation. Stop trying to gain the approval of those who are incapable of seeing your value. Focus on sincere actions, surround yourself with genuine people, and trust in Allah's judgment. Your peace, your dignity, and your spiritual strength depend on it. When you detach from toxic approval, you reclaim your freedom, your confidence, and your inner peace. Brothers and sisters, one of the hardest lessons in life is learning to trust Allah fully, especially when people misunderstand you, judge you unfairly, or when the world seems to be against you. Many of us want instant vindication, immediate recognition, or quick clarification, but life does not work that way. Allah has perfect wisdom and timing, and the truth will be revealed in His own way and at His own time. The key is to trust Him and not obsess over how or when others will see the reality. Too often, we are consumed by the need to convince others of our sincerity, defend ourselves against criticism, or justify our actions. But consider this. Do you really need to prove your intentions to every person who misunderstands you? No, brothers and sisters. What matters is that Allah knows your heart, your intentions, and your efforts. He sees everything, and ultimately, it is His judgment that counts. When we place our trust in Him, we free ourselves from the burden of constantly seeking approval or correction from others. Let me explain this with a practical example. Imagine a person working diligently in their community, helping the needy, giving charity, and maintaining honesty in every aspect of their life. Yet, some people criticize them, spreading rumors or misinterpreting their actions. This person may feel the urge to defend themselves, to clarify every point, or to correct every misunderstanding. But if they trust Allah, they know that it is not their job to force understanding. Allah sees the truth, and in His wisdom, He will ensure that it is revealed at the right time. Meanwhile, the person continues their good work with patience, dignity, and faith. This trust in Allah is not passive. It is active patience combined with sincere effort. We must continue to act righteously, maintain good character, and fulfill our responsibilities. We do not sit idly and hope that Allah will reveal the truth without effort, but we also do not allow ourselves to be consumed by fear, frustration, or the need for immediate validation. Our focus should be on what we can control, our intentions, our actions, and our character, and leave the rest to Allah. Consider the lives of the prophets as a profound example. Prophet Joseph Salam was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely accused. For many years, he faced injustice and misunderstanding, yet he did not let this break his faith or integrity. He trusted Allah completely. In time, the truth was revealed and he rose to a position of honor and authority. Similarly, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ faced opposition, false accusations and ridicule throughout his life, yet he relied on Allah and continued to act with sincerity, wisdom and patience. These examples teach us that the truth will always emerge when Allah wills it. Trusting Allah also protects your heart from unnecessary anger, resentment and frustration. When someone wrongs you, when someone spreads false narratives, or when people fail to see your value, it is easy to become bitter or obsessed with correcting them. But remember, Allah is the ultimate judge and His justice is perfect. By trusting Him, you release the weight of human judgment from your heart and allow yourself to live in peace and dignity. You no longer feel the need to chase recognition or revenge because you know that everything is in Allah's hands. This trust also strengthens your character. When you rely on Allah to reveal the truth, you cultivate patience, humility, and resilience. You learn that you cannot control every perception and that trying to do so only leads to stress and frustration. Instead, you focus on improving yourself, serving others, and fulfilling your responsibilities with sincerity. The results, both worldly and spiritual, will unfold naturally, guided by Allah's wisdom. Another important aspect of trusting Allah is understanding that sometimes the truth takes time to become clear. People may misunderstand you today, but circumstances may change tomorrow. Relationships may evolve, situations may transform, and hearts may soften. Trusting Allah means acknowledging that His timing is perfect. What may seem delayed or hidden now will eventually be revealed in the right way, at the right time, and for the best outcome. Impatience only clouds your judgment and causes unnecessary worry. Trusting Allah also frees you from the toxic need to control others' perceptions. We often think that if we explain ourselves, clarify our intentions, or correct misunderstandings, we can make everyone see the truth. But this is an illusion. You cannot control human hearts, their biases, or their understanding. What you can control is your own behavior, your intentions, and your actions. Let the truth emerge through your deeds and trust Allah to guide the hearts of others to understand it when He wills. In practical terms, this trust can transform your daily life. When criticized at work, remain professional and patient. When misunderstood by friends or family, maintain sincerity and kindness without over-explaining. When falsely accused or judged, continue to act with integrity and leave the outcome to Allah. Over time, this approach not only protects your heart, but also ensures that your life reflects authenticity, patience, and faith. Finally, brothers and sisters, remember that the ultimate truth is not always immediate and it is not always recognized by people. The truth in the eyes of Allah is what truly matters. Your efforts, your intentions, your patience, and your character are known to Him. Trust Him, act righteously, and let Him reveal the truth in His perfect timing. When you do this, you achieve peace of heart, strength of character, and spiritual freedom that no human judgment can take away. So always keep this lesson in mind. Trust Allah to reveal the truth. Do not obsess over convincing others or correcting every misunderstanding. Focus on sincere actions, maintain integrity, and have faith in Allah's perfect plan. The truth will always surface in its own time, and when it does, it will carry the weight of divine wisdom and justice. Your role is to act sincerely, remain patient, and let Allah manage the outcome. This is the path to true peace, dignity, and spiritual strength. Brothers and sisters, this is perhaps the most liberating lesson of all. We live in a world where people expect explanations, justifications, and constant defense. Every decision, every word, every action seems to require approval or clarification, and many of us feel trapped in this cycle, always responding, always defending, always proving. But let me tell you clearly, true peace comes when you stop defending yourself. When you stop feeling the need to convince everyone of your intentions, you reclaim your heart, your mind, and your dignity. From a young age, we are taught to justify ourselves. As children, we explain to our parents why we made mistakes. As teenagers, we defend our choices to our friends. As adults, we justify our actions to colleagues, family members, and even strangers, there is a constant pressure to explain, to clarify, to prove that we are right or good. And the more we do it, the more we become enslaved to the opinions of others. Our inner peace becomes fragile, dependent on external validation. Brothers and sisters, defending yourself is exhausting. Every time you feel the need to explain, you give away your energy, your focus, and your power. You become reactive instead of proactive. You allow others to dictate your emotions and disturb your calm. This is why the most content and spiritually strong people are often those who stop defending themselves unnecessarily. They focus on their character, their actions, and their intentions, letting the truth reveal itself in its own time. Consider the wisdom of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He faced countless misunderstandings, criticisms, and accusations during his life. And yet, he sallam did not waste his energy trying to convince everyone of his truth. He acted with patience, integrity, and sincerity, leaving the results to Allah. Time and circumstances revealed the truth, and the outcome spoke louder than any explanation could. This is a lesson for all of us. When you stop defending yourself, you allow life, actions, and divine wisdom to do the work. Defending yourself constantly often stems from pride or insecurity. We fear being misunderstood, judged, or rejected. We feel a strong need to control the narrative, to ensure that everyone sees us correctly. But the reality is we cannot control perceptions. People will misunderstand, judge unfairly, or form opinions regardless of our explanations. Trying to manage every perception is a burden too heavy for any heart to bear. Peace, on the other hand, comes from acceptance of what is beyond our control, and trust in Allah to reveal what needs to be revealed. Letting go of the need to defend yourself does not mean inaction or passivity. It does not mean tolerating injustice or allowing harm to continue. Rather, it means choosing your battles wisely and focusing on what truly matters. You maintain integrity, act with sincerity, and fulfill your responsibilities. You do what is right, and then you step back, letting actions, results, and divine wisdom speak for themselves. This approach preserves your dignity, strengthens your character, and protects your mental and emotional well-being. Many of us are caught in a cycle of constant defense in our personal relationships. We argue with loved ones to prove a point, we justify our decisions repeatedly, and we feel compelled to clarify every misunderstanding. But this cycle often escalates tension rather than resolving it. When you stop defending yourself unnecessarily, you cultivate calmness, patience, and wisdom. You create space for others to reflect, for misunderstandings to fade, and for sincerity to be recognized naturally. Spiritually, this lesson is profound. Constantly defending yourself can indicate a lack of reliance on Allah. It shows that you are seeking validation from people rather than placing your trust in the one who truly sees all hearts. When you let go of this need, you acknowledge that Allah's wisdom is perfect, that He will reveal the truth in His timing, and that human judgment is limited and flawed. This surrender brings immense peace to the heart because you no longer feel responsible for convincing everyone of your truth. Practical steps to implement this lesson include: first, pause before responding. Before you explain or justify, ask yourself, is this necessary? Will it change the outcome? Am I seeking validation or acting from sincerity? Often, the answer will be no, and silence will be more powerful than words. Second, focus on consistent action. Let your integrity, diligence, and good character speak louder than any explanation. Third, prioritize your energy. Not everyone's opinion deserves your attention. Protect your heart and focus on what truly matters: your faith, your family, and your personal growth. Brothers and sisters, peace comes not from controlling the world, but from controlling your heart. When you stop defending yourself unnecessarily, you reclaim that control. You stop reacting impulsively, you stop being disturbed by every misunderstanding, and you stop letting others' opinions dictate your emotional state. This is how dignity is maintained, how character is strengthened, and how faith is deepened. Finally, remember this: defending yourself endlessly often proves your powerlessness rather than your strength. The truly strong do not need to justify every action. The truly confident act with integrity and leave the truth to reveal itself. When you stop defending yourself, you find freedom, you find clarity, you find peace that is independent of the opinions and judgments of the world. This is not weakness, this is wisdom, maturity, and reliance on Allah. So, my brothers and sisters, embrace this lesson in your life. Peace comes when you stop defending yourself, trust in Allah, act with sincerity, and let the results speak. Let go of the need for constant approval, explanation, or validation. Focus on your actions, your character, and your faith. The truth will reveal itself, hearts will recognize it in time, and you will experience the inner peace, dignity, and freedom that come from surrendering to Allah's wisdom and leaving human judgment behind. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. O Allah, the most merciful, the all-knowing, we ask you to grant us sincerity in our intentions, strength in our character, and patience in the face of misunderstanding. O Allah, protect our hearts from seeking validation from those who cannot see our truth. Help us to act with integrity, to speak only when necessary, and to trust in you completely. O Allah, let our actions reflect our faith and let the truth be revealed through our deeds. Keep us steadfast on the straight path, free from the burden of constant explanation, and grant us peace in our hearts that no worldly opinion can disturb. Strengthen our reliance upon you, guide our efforts, and bless us with wisdom to know when to act, when to remain silent, and when to trust your perfect plan. O Allah, forgive our shortcomings, purify our hearts, and make us among those who are patient, sincere, and humble. Protect us from the whispers of negativity, from envy, and from those who wish to harm us unjustly. Let our lives be a source of goodness, and let our deeds be accepted by you, O most merciful of the merciful. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Amen.